Welcome back. We are discussing domestic law, divorce, and custody. We're going to begin right here. How can you separate if a spouse has nowhere to go and has health issues? The spouse has no income either, and the spouse is sometimes a danger to others because of health issues.
So that's one of the challenges that a lot of people face, but the requirements are still the same. You have to live in two separate households. So it may be that when one person doesn't have the ability to leave, the person who can leave finds a different place to live or work to resolve the property division before you separate. That way, the spouse who doesn't have a lot will have something from that property division to live on, and then you can just separate after that. But ultimately, to divorce, you do have to live in two separate households.
Okay, next question. My lawyer is dragging their feet on my child support case. How hard is it to change lawyers in the middle of a case?
Okay, so what a lot of people don't know is that our courts, particularly our district courts that have to deal with child support, are very backed up. It can be months for a case to be heard. And so before you attribute the dragging the feet to the lawyer, I would just make sure you have a full understanding of every time your case has been continued and why, because it's quite common. It is not necessarily difficult to change lawyers in the midst of it. However, it will be challenging if you actually have a court date coming up. Most lawyers wouldn't want to step in at the last minute because they wouldn't do you a good service to you if they're stepping in at the last minute. So if you're at a point in your case where there's nothing scheduled or it's far out, that's a good time to seek new counsel.
Okay. Is it okay for a child to get a passport without the absent parent knowing about it?
No. What you will find if you look at the passport application, it requires both parents to either be present or to sign acknowledging that you're allowing one parent to proceed. Unless you have some type of court order that has modified your legal rights as a parent, where like only one of you has decision making power, where you have sole legal custody, then both of those parents have a right in that type of decision. And so you wouldn't be able to leave that other parent out.
Okay. Next question here is, how is child support determined when both parents are minors?
So child support is calculated per the child support guidelines. If you have two minor parents, oftentimes you can then make an effort to do what we call imputing income by using the income of, grandparents if they're living with their parents. But if they're like minors who are emancipated, you're still going to do it the same way, calculating with the child support guidelines. They may have to get a job, but there are ways to do that by either imputing income to them, to bring in the grandparents' income, or making sure that those minors get a job.
Okay, I think we have time for one more question. How does a man get sole custody of their child if he was not married to the mother?
Okay, so you're really talking about two separate things. Whether or not the parents were married is not relevant to the question of custody. Custody is just going to be based on the best interest of the child and a court's exploration of which party operates in the child's best interest. So it's not relevant whether or not they were married. So typically, the only way to get sole custody is for you to prove that there's some reason that that child shouldn't have a relationship with the other parent, and from a physical perspective, or for legal custody, that the two of you just cannot make decisions together for the benefit of the child, and it's in the child's best interest for only one of you to make those decisions.
All right, good conversation here. Thank you so much.
Sure.
And if you missed our entire conversation, remember you can find it on our website, WFMYnews2.com.